Hi, this is Tim Sheldon with Timmons Group. The video today is going to be a little bit different. Where our previous videos were all focused on editing the LRS network on ArcGIS desktop, this video is going to be about the event editor. So event editor is the web-based component of Esri Roads and Highways software. It's used for, you might have guessed, editing events. So in this video, I'm going to do a quick show and tell of the event editor application layout. And then in some following videos, we'll dive into the actual use of the event editor to maintain your event data. So what we're looking at here is the event editor application in ArcGIS version 10.7.1 that was created from and hosted by ArcGIS Desktop. So this one isn't from Pro just yet. We'll do a video of one of those a little bit later on. So the important thing to remember here is that everything you see is hosted on a web server somewhere. There's a set of configuration files that control a lot of how the application looks, feels, and behaves. And there are any number of map services that control the layers you see, the data you see, and how that data is symbolized for you. An organization can have any number of these event editor deployments that they like. So it's common for one or more deployments per business line so that events a business unit is responsible for can all be grouped together for editing by that business unit. Now, it's also possible for the event editor application to also contain any number of additional single or groups of events that aren't editable, but can be used for reference purposes in the application while people are editing. So let's click through just a little bit here. The application is laid out in 3 tabs. There's a map tab, an edit tab, and a review tab. So the map tab is exactly what you would expect. There's a contents widget. So every tab is going to have several widgets. In this case, the contents widget allows you to open a web map, save a web map, turn on the layers. So this is similar to the table of contents you might be used to in ArcGIS Desktop. There's a function to add base maps if that's something that your organization is configured and allows. In this case, we have a set of the standard Esri base maps available. There's a function specific to Roads and Highways. So this is how you adjust the temporal view date in Roads and Highways from inside the event editor. So you choose whichever date you want to view as the effective date for all the data in the map. Within the Navigate widget is the tools that you probably all know and love for navigating a map, so you can explore, zoom to the initial extent, previous extent, forward. You can zoom in by rectangle, you can zoom out, or you can pick a scale. You can also go to any bookmarks you have associated with this web map. There's a Find widget that'll do a couple different things. It'll find a route or find an address. I should note that the find address function is using a more publicly available service to find addresses, so you could very easily find the address of something not in your particular area, so use with caution. There's an advanced route find tool, so you can use this to actually dig into the parts of your organization's route ID. So I like to use the search by route ID fields option here. So this shows you the constituent fields of the route ID, just kind of help narrow things down a little bit as you're searching. There's also an identify button that does exactly what you would expect it to do based on your time with ArcGIS Desktop. And there's also the identify route locations tool, similar to you get with regular LRS or Roads and Highways LRS, where you can click a location on a route and get the measure information. Onto the Edit tab. This is where we make edits. Crazy talk. So we can change our version within the versioning widget. If you're not using WMX, there's some more controls here that you can use. You can delete versions from here, create new versions. You just saw me change the version, and then you also have functionality to reconcile and posts. Within the selection widget, you can do the things you imagine as far as selecting goes. So you can select by route attributes or by proximity. You have options in the select by shape. You can use a point, polyline, rectangle, so on and so forth. This is how you choose which layer you're selecting from. So this will be any layer that's in your layers list. You can clear a selection. Zoom to selection, zoom to highlighted, all the things you're used to doing on desktop all work just the same here. You can toggle between creating a new selection, adding or removing from the current selection. There's a couple tools here that I'll go into depth in some subsequent videos for adding point events, line events, and doing event replacement. There's several other functions here that let you configure attribute sets. Again, that's something I'll get into in a later video. There's also options here to configure and enable snapping. The review tab lets you perform data review. So there's embedded tools to check events. So these will perform some cursory checks on your event data. Things like detecting gaps, overlaps, and invalid measures. So simple checks that you should probably do on all of your LRS data are available here. I don't have it configured in this application, but you can also plug Data Reviewer for Server into this and leverage everything you have in Data Reviewer inside the event editor, which is a nice feature to do thorough data QC. We have access to conflict prevention information, so we can view the locks table from within Event Editor. We also have the ability to mark up the map, so you can add a pin or draw a line or a polygon or label to make notes to yourself for edits you need to make in the future or edits you made, however you want to use that tool for your data editing or data QC needs. There's the option to measure. This is the same type of measure tool you use on desktop, nothing fancy here. And then there's a widget that lets you add redline features. So redlines are a method of communicating between a business unit and the folks who maintain the network. So this is a way for the business unit to spatially say there's a road missing or you need to do a realignment, etc. It's a good communication tool. It's a little better than screenshots and JPEGs via email. One more thing to cover in this, no matter which tab you're on, at the top of the screen, you always have the ability to pan the map or zoom in or zoom out by a rectangle. All right, I think that'll do it for our quick intro to the different pieces of the event editor. Thanks for watching.